girls. Oh, hi. I'm just trying to find a pen. I've taken everybody's fish and chip order, but I need to write it down before I forget. Now, it was 9 fish, 2 spring rolls and 4 scoops. Aww. What did people do before they had pens?
Feathers dipped in ink. Feathers. They used bark from the tree, like to carve and stuff. Wooden sticks.
You could be right. Or maybe people didn't write anything down before they had pens. Yeah, maybe everything was spoken and they just passed it on from person to person. But how would that work? I know. Here's a secret message. Psst. The eagle flies at midnight. The eagle's flies are just right. The eagle's shorts are too tight. My shorts are too tight? What kind of a message is that? It certainly pays to write things down sometimes. No, I'm pretty sure there must have been some kind of writing going on before pens were invented. Well, let's start by taking a close-up look at what happens when we write with a pen. Well, first of all, there are 3 important parts. There's the pen itself, there's the ink inside the pen, and this ink is red. And then there's the thing that the pen puts the ink on, the paper. And you've got to have all 3 things if you want to do some writing. Back in the days when people used to live in caves, paper hadn't been invented. So people would make marks on their rock walls using mud or charcoal, or maybe chipping away at the rock with sharp stone, which was pretty cool. Except if you wanted to make a list of things to buy at the supermarket, you couldn't exactly write on the wall and stick the wall in your pocket. So it was probably a good thing that in those days, supermarkets hadn't been invented either. The Greeks and the Romans took a step forward by writing on a tablet. They must have had small writing. Just kidding. It wasn't this kind of tablet. It was a tablet like this, that's bigger and flatter, and it has a wax surface. And when you use something sharp like this, called a stylus, it leaves a mark behind. Well, that's good, but it's still not paper and ink, is it? They're on their way, though. The first ink was made from lamp oil and berries and plants and things like donkey skin. Well, don't ask me how they came up with that one, because I don't know. And paper, well, it wasn't quite like the paper that we're used to. But the Egyptians, the Romans, the Hebrews and the Greeks developed something called papyrus. And it's made by laying out a type of plant and letting it dry. And then came parchment. Now, parchment's a bit more like paper, but it's not paper. It's made by stretching out animal skin. But don't worry, the animal wasn't in it at the time. In the meantime, the Romans started thinking, let's take a thin piece of bamboo, sharpen one end and fill it full of ink. Well, here's one I happen to have prepared earlier. What will happen when I start to write with it? Well, let's find out. Oh, it just makes a real mess. Thank goodness for geese. Excuse me a moment, will you? Thanks to my fine feathered friend, I happen to have this fine feather. Now, people found that if they cut the base of the feather like this so it was nice and sharp and dipped it in ink, it would hold enough ink to be able to write with. Of course, it's not a pen. It was called a quill, and it was the hot thing to write with for hundreds of years. Oh, and here's an interesting thing. Feathers curve. So if you're writing with it and it curved the wrong way, it kind of got up your nose as you were writing. But if it was a feather from the left wing of the goose, it curved away from your nose, which is a good thing for writers, but not a very good thing for a goose. And of course, these things aren't perfect. Although they look as though they'd be really cool to write with, they still manage to get ink everywhere. And they didn't last very long. You had to keep sharpening the ends, so they'd only last about a week. You know, the time was ripe for somebody to invent the pen. Here is a fountain pen. Just kidding. It's not really a fountain pen. A fountain pen is one like this one here. Now, you'll have to come in nice and close for this one. You keep the ink in the fountain pen here, and the ink comes out at this end in a place called the nib. And when I write, the ink comes down through the pen, through the nib, and onto the paper. Hey, now we're talking. I mean writing. And the good thing about fountain pens is they hold a lot more ink than a quill. So you can write, and write, and write. But eventually, the ink's going to run out. And that's when the fun begins. Here's something that your grandparents might remember. An inkwell in a desk. It used to be full of ink and they'd fill up their fountain pens from it. But because it's a bit tricky to see inside, I've put the ink into this little container here. Now, you might like to stand back because this could get messy. Right, here goes. Well, this fountain pen here has a little lever. You dip it in the ink and pull the lever down and it fills up with ink. Well, this fountain pen here has had the casing taken off it and it's got a button system. You put it in the ink and push the button down and it should fill up with lots of ink, like that. Now, the only thing with fountain pens, it doesn't matter if it was a lever or a button system, they were really good at making lots of mess. Oh, and blobbing everywhere. Oh no. See what I mean? Really messy. What you need is thicker ink and then it wouldn't go everywhere. But the trouble is, with a nib, you really need thin ink, the sort of ink that blobs everywhere.
Ladies, does your fountain pen go blobby blob blob when you try and write down the family fish and chip order? Yes? Well, introducing the amazing ballpoint pen. It's the sort of pen you can use every day. And why do we call it the ballpoint? Because it has a ball on its point. That's right, a ball on its point.
It does! It really does! A teeny weeny ball right on its point. Oh no, I said a teeny weeny ball. Oh no, a really teeny weeny ball. Right on the point of the pen is a teeny weeny ball. It sits on the paper and the ink sits above. As you move your pen across the paper, the ball rolls and the ink gets on the ball at the top and is carried round to the bottom where it reaches the paper.
It's the old ballpoint pen that most people use these days. Oh, there are other ways of getting the ink out. Like a felt tip pen sort of soaks up the ink. But it's the ballpoint that's the most popular. How popular? How many of these pens do you think they sell in one day? Did you guess 14 million? And I can still never find one. So people have been making their mark on surfaces for thousands of years, but it took the invention of something like ink and something like paper before we got something like a pen, the quill. After the quill, they invented something that could hold a lot more ink, the fountain pen. And then, of course, came the mighty ballpoint pen. And that can hold a stickier kind of ink that doesn't get everywhere and make a big mess. Unless, of course, you leave it in the washing. Hi guys, welcome back to Suzy and Friends, where we have another paper plane make and another paper plane maker. This is Jo. Hi Jo.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. Now, you're a bit of a paper plane enthusiast?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. What got you started making paper planes?
Well, when I first watched the movie Paper Planes about 2 years ago, I got involved in it.
Yeah.
During my sport, and then I started to copy paper planes off the internet and make up some paper planes too.
Great. Have you nailed one that goes really long distances?
Yeah.
Okay, have you got one that goes loop-de-loop?
No.
No? Okay, mine go loop-de-loop, but really I want it to go long distances. Can you show me one that goes long distances?
Yeah.
Great. Wonderful. Please, sir, let's get started.
First you fold it in half. So it's equal.
Do you have to get all the corners and the edges matching?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you a hand on this side, hey? Right.
And then you make sure it's really tight. Next you'll fold the wings. And you do it again.
With a really pointy nose?
Yeah.
How about on the paper? Does that need a pointy nose too?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And next you fold it down facing downwards like this.
Oh, right back on itself.
Yeah.
All the way right down to the end.
Next you're going to fold these corners here into the centre right there.
Okay. Haven't seen this one before. Okay, so those lines have to match, yep.
Yeah. Next, you fold this upwards like this.
How old are you, Joe?
9.
You're 9. It looks like you've been making paper planes for years. You're making it look really easy. Well done.
Next, you turn it over and fold it in half so it's equal again. Next, we're making the wings, and you fold the wings like this, so they're going down. And then the next one. And you can do details like this too to make it fly better.
Great. Is it going to keep it straight or is it going to...
It doesn't, I don't know what it does yet, but...
special little airfoils maybe, yeah, okay.
And here's the paper plane by itself with no detail or boosters or anything. Next I'm going to draw the boosters.
Gotta have boosters, especially for those long distance flights. You could really have flames coming out as well, couldn't you? Yeah. Oh, rocket boosters. Ooh, this is going to go so fast. Just have to be careful that the paper doesn't catch alight, Joe. Yeah.
And you might want to name it something. And I'm going to name mine...
Bob.
Yeah.
You don't have to. What do you think you'd call it?
Kevin.
Kevin. There you go. The fastest plane in the world is Kevin. Excellent. Do you know any Kevins?
In the Minions movie.
Of course. Yeah, but Kevin wouldn't go very fast, would he? Round and round in circles.
And
very cool.
Next, you can write like what number it is that they need to call. And next,
0, 2, 2, 7.
you can try to fly it.
Do we need a countdown or something?
Yeah.
Okay, from 5?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Woohoo! Down to the other end of the room, and I can't show you down there because it's a real mess, but it's way down there. I'll just go and get it. Right. All the way down the other end of the room. Here I come back. I reckon we need a bit of a competition. I have Bob. Whoop. Bob. And he is number 3. And he's up against 1220, commonly known as Kevin. Okay? You ready on the countdown?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Whoa, okay. You got to the other end of the room. I got to the cameraman. Sorry. That is awesome. Well done. What do you reckon? We have a paper plane competition at some stage?
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, thanks a lot, Joe. We'll see you again soon. Bye. We're all gonna have some fun We're all gonna have some fun. You and me and everyone. Throw our hands out really wide. Shake our hips from side to side. Wobble like a jelly on a camel ride. We're all gonna have some fun. Everybody join in. The party's just begun. In the car or on the bus, you and me and all of us, we're all gonna have some fun. We're all gonna have some fun. Come on! We're all gonna have some fun. We're all gonna have some fun. You do! We're all gonna have some fun. We're all gonna have some fun. That's right. We're all gonna have some fun. We're all gonna have some fun. Yeah! A game of cards is great to play when you're by yourself, but it's even better when you've got friends. So I've invited some friends along. We've got Riley and Quinn here, and they are very good at playing cards, aren't you?
Yeah.
What's your favourite game?
Speed.
Yeah, speed?
Yeah.
You're both very fast?
Yeah.
What about your younger brother? Because you've got a younger brother, Sammy,
Yeah.
who's, what, 4 years younger than you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does he get on with a game like speed?
Sometimes he doesn't win all of them, and he likes to win.
Doesn't anybody?
Yeah.
You guys like to win too?
Yeah.
Quite competitive?
Yeah.
What happens then if somebody wins all the time? Do you have a winner in the family?
No.
No? You take turns?
Yeah, all the games we play is the luck of the cards you get dealt.
Okay. And a little bit of strategy?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit of speed?
Yeah.
So maybe as the eldest you'll win a few more times?
Yeah.
Quinn, how do you feel about that? Is that okay? Yeah. Do you ever have any arguments?
Yeah, sometimes when people look at your cards and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not on when you're playing cards, is
No.
it? Unless you're just floating your cards
Yeah.
around all over the
Yeah.
place. Okay. There are a couple of games where you can cheat, but ideally you don't cheat at all.
Yeah.
Have you ever done any dodgy deals?
Yeah. No.
You have? Riley admitting to it on camera. Did you hear that? What do you guys do when there's a bit of argy-bargy, there's a bit of upset?
I usually go to Mum and Dad and they sort of sort it out.
Okay, that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about for Sammy? Do you play down to him or do you try and keep the game up?
Both.
Oh, good on you. Hey, Sammy, I'm sure you'll win all by yourself soon, buddy. Good man. So what's one of your favourite games? Let's start with a basic one. What's a really basic one you can play?
Snap.
Okay. So you start with a full deck?
Except you don't want the jokers.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. And then you...
Just start dealing.
And you deal them all out. Snap really is one of the easiest games to play, eh?
Yeah.
Now, you don't look at your cards, do you?
No.
And you don't shuffle them once you've got them?
No.
So what do you do?
So, who's starting?
So the dealer has dealt the cards.
To the left of the dealer. So I start.
That's you, okay. And what we're looking for here, guys, is...
Matches. Oh. So 2 of the same card.
Okay. And when you get 2 of the same card, you bang the table and yell snap. Is that right?
Yeah.
What happens if we go through the whole lot? Oh, well done! It's easy to get distracted. Here we go. So you start because you won the hand, okay?
Snap. No.
Oh, close. Okay, so that was an ace and a 2. Yep. Oh. Can be a long time between snaps. No! Quinn, well done. How is it every time I talk, we get a snap? Now, I'm just down to 1 card, so I just have to play that card and then just sit there watching.
And then wait until there's a snap and try and snap.
Okay, poised. Like a tightly coiled spring. Here we go. And you just keep on playing until somebody snaffles all of the cards. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, Okay. Oh, well done, Riley. Awesome. And that is the game of Snap. Oh, kia ora e hoa. Haere mai. I have found a cheeky book. Sometimes we have beautiful stories. Sometimes we have interesting stories. And sometimes we have cheeky stories. This is a cheeky story here. It's by Amy Harrop and Jenny Cooper, and it's called Who Took the Toilet Paper? Bum, bum, bum. Somebody's not looking very happy, are they? Let's find out who it is. Are you nice and comfy? Ready for a cheeky story? Let's begin. Pa Bear was in the toilet. He'd been there for so long, when suddenly he bellowed out, "Come quick, there's something wrong!" We heard him growl and grumble. "What is this silly caper? I've been looking everywhere. Who took the toilet paper?" So the bear on the cover, Pa Bear. And here he is on the loo. Told you it was a cheeky book. We glanced at one another, all assembled round the dunny. "Someone here's responsible, and I don't find it funny." It certainly was a mystery. That much we knew for sure. Who could be the culprit that used up the paper store? Do you think it was one of these bears? I wonder. Grandpa had been planning a fancy swimming pool. Perhaps he took the loo roll to use as a measuring tool. Well, that's an idea. Ma was doing craft work. Was she the one to blame? Using all the paper to adorn her picture frame? It is pretty. Was it her? The cubs looked rather shifty. Toilet paper would be fun to make a giant snowstorm or trap villains on the run. Hey, was it the cubs, do you think? Gram and her buddies had been practicing first aid. The need for extra dressings may have caused the paper raid. Would they have practiced their first aid with toilet paper, do you think? Aunt Bruna came to stay last night. Was she the paper bandit? Knowing it would annoy our pa, maybe she had planned it. She does look rather cheeky. Our Fluffy was quite partial to things that rolled around. She might have played a little game with toilet rolls that she found. This must be Fluffy here, because I don't know that a hedgehog is fluffy. Maybe it is. Did the squirrels use the paper on their furry little butts? Or do they use the cardboard tubes as storage for their nuts? Well, that's a good idea. We took off in a hurry in search of a solution. What else could our father use to assist in his ablution? Not the tea towels, Ma cried out. Perhaps newspaper would do, or large leaves from the garden might be handy in the loo. The cubs offered their homework sheets. Gram had some knitting. Grandpa looked around the shed for something that was fitting. Can you see this word here? Sandpaper. Then Ma Bear darted up the path, a stretch of paper in her fist. "Well, look what we have here," she smiled. "It's Pa Bear's shopping list." And written up there at the top, in capitals no less, were 2 words: toilet paper. Have you something to confess? Uh-oh. Behind the door we heard an "oh." Then Pa went a little quiet. Yes, I do remember now. It was my job to buy it." Ma slid the list under the door. "It seems that you'd forgotten. Luckily, the list is long. You can use it on your bottom." What a cheeky story. Amy Harrop does write cheeky stories, doesn't she? They're very funny. If you want to find out more about this book and some of the others that Amy's written, visit scholastic.co.nz. And come and visit me for another story. If you haven't seen the other cheeky stories, look back through the playlist. You'll find lots there. And I'll find us a new story soon. Ka kite.